All right. So Amy Coney Barrett is not the better choice. This gal from Miami is. So is Trump going to cave into pressure? Could be.
For Jeffrey Epstein plea deal and got the info released. So that's another big feather in her cap. Tell us more about her, Robert Barnes.
Absolutely. So Lagoa is, comes from a better life experience. And in my view, in interpreting and predicting judges, it's much better to follow their life experience often than what they publicly or politically stated. Trump.
Amen. Let's go to her name so I get it right. So is Trump going to be forced to choose Barrett when he should be choosing Lagoa? Looks like it.
Trump instinctively, by what he told people early on, wants to pick Lagoa, but he's getting massive pressure from the entire corporate establishment, legal establishment in D.C. to pick Barrett. Barrett is the one that has the highest risk of not being nominated. Barrett is the one that's the pro-lockdown. Barrett is the one with the problematic history. By comparison, Lagoa is someone who chose not to play the political games, didn't try to just go the government or clerkship route. She just served her country, took risks by pro bono cases for Elian Gonzalez, by willing to go after the government in respect to that case. So she's shown a history of standing up. And when she was on the Florida Circuit Court of Appeals, she's the one who uncovered the corruption involving Epstein, was the first judge in meaningful respects to take meaningful action to force the disclosure of those records. Then she was recommended by Governor DeSantis, who's a very pro-Trump populist wing of the party, to the Florida Supreme Court, where again she made good decisions. Then she gets put on the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, where she's made many good decisions and no bad decision to date. No pro-lockdown decision, no anti-civil rights, civil liberties decision.
So we need to package this with the truth. Trump needs to appoint the conservative Cuban-American judge that helped expose Epstein.
I think Trump's only risk of not getting reelected is if he were to try to put Barrett on the bench. Barrett is not only the pro-lockdown choice, she's not only the deep state stealth choice as another coup attempt against the president. The same people who recommended to Trump to put Fauci in charge are the ones recommending Barrett for the Supreme Court. The same people who recommended Bolton to the National Security Council are recommending Barrett to the Supreme Court. The same people who recommended Chris Wray in charge of the FBI and Rod Rosenstein and Robert Mueller, the Department of Justice, are the same people pushing Barrett. And Barrett is the forced vaccination choice, the forced sterilization choice, the lockdown choice, the detention camp choice, the emergency exception to the Constitution choice, and the person who cannot be trusted or relied upon to defend the president on a key election lawsuit upcoming at the election. Donald Trump will win the vote in the election of the Electoral College. The question is, will that be affirmed and recognized when the Democrats try to steal it by using selective lawfare against him?
There you are, short and sweet. If Lagoa doesn't get in, it's going to be bad news. Lagoa needs to be in there.
All right, I want to get constitutional lawyer Robert Barnes, good friend of mine, really smart historian, his view on what's happening politically right now, 39 days out from the election, the Soros groups, the funding, the head of Twitter, Jack Dorsey giving $11 million to the group, Scene, the head of the group, handing out the riot shields and the defund the police stuff, and then 2 cops shot. And then Senator Paul saying this is terrorism, to try to block people's political views, to try to scare them, to try to make them submit. He read the definition of terrorism in the Senate about an hour and a half ago, and we played the clip 3 times. But Congress keeps acting like they don't know who funds BLM or Antifa. Soros is in the New York Times bragging about it. So I wanted to get Robert Barnes' take on that ahead of the situation with the Supreme Court and some of his concerns and some of the inside baseball he's going to give us. But Robert, good to have you with us.
Hey, glad to be here.
Let's get your gravitas on 39 days out, what you see happening, what you think about these BLM riots, where you think that's going.
I think there's sort of a twofold set of concerns. You do have sort of a rise of they're weaponizing the mob on the political left side of the equation. And that's an issue. And they're trying to take out Trump by creating this sort of chaotic atmosphere that they can blame on Trump. But I think we also have to have a parallel concern about the rise of a certain sort of statist agenda on both the left and the right. Like if we look at what happened in Germany in the 1930s, how Nazis came to power, they had three things in their favor. First, they used a sort of excuse of the rise of a violent left, the communist left. The fascists used that to help seize power, to legitimate their seizure of power. Second, they used economic collapse and a quote-unquote emergency to assert power politically. And then legally, the key aspect was there was, quote, an emergency exception to the Weimar Constitution that was used by both first the corporatists and then the Nazis to seize power legally. And so we have to be cognizant of anyone that's pushing any of that kind of agenda. So I think we have to have parallel concern of protecting the president and seeing him reelected. And I think there's great opportunities to see that happen despite all the shenanigans and scams that are taking place. But I think there's power afoot and movements afoot within the government on the sort of statist side of the equation that would like to use the pretext of the violent left and the pretext of the pandemic to seize extraordinary power.
Well, that is my next point, is that when you...
We're going to leave it there. So is history about to repeat itself? We are not that far away repeating the same mistakes we made in the past. Big red flag there. It's Roger Martin from Billings, Montana. Good day. Are the corporate elites going to throw us right into where Germany was? The Second World War and the Nazis came to power. Big red flag. Beware everywhere. And if Amy Colbert gets in there, they're going to be well on their way to moving in that direction. Good day.